Hello, dear grade 11 students. In the last session, we finished up to page 244 here, this part, which was titled The Visitor. And today we're going to complete or end part 6. The last two parts are the Schmonzler and Death's Diary, the Parisians. Let's go back to that Schmonzler. It's a German word, I think. Minutes later, a second knocker was at the door. Remember, last time we said that the Hitler people were checking the basements after the other German cities were, let's say, hit by planes. They wanted to make sure that the basements were suitable for people as a shelter or for hiding. The first man left and he didn't discover that, or he didn't find out that a Jew was hiding in Hans Huberman's basement. Minutes later, after the first man left, a second knocker was at the door. Good Lord, another one, they said. Worry resumed immediately, and Max was covered up again. Rosa trudged up the basement steps, but when she opened the door this time, it was not the Nazis, it was none other than Rudi Steiner. He stood there, yellow-haired and good intention. I just came to see how Liesel is. You know, the girl got injured yesterday or minutes ago when she was trying to fake any reason to go home to warn Hans and Rosa before the Germans or the Hitler guys or the Nazis visited their home to check the basement. When she heard his voice, Liesel started making her way up the steps. I can't deal with this one. Her boyfriend, Papa mentioned to the paint cans, he blew another mouthful of smoke. He is not my boyfriend, she answered it. She countered, but she was not irritated. It was impossible after such a close call. I'm only going up because Mama will be yelling out any second. Liesel, she was on the 5th step, C. When she reached the door, Rudy moved from foot to foot. I just came to see. He stopped. What's that smell? He sniffed. Have you been smoking in there? Oh, I was sitting with Papa. Do you have any cigarettes? Maybe we can sell some. Liesel wasn't in the mood for this. She spoke quietly enough so that Mama wouldn't hear. I don't steal from my Papa. He wanted her to steal some cigarettes and buy some sweets or candies with them. But you steal from certain other places. Took a bit louder. Why don't you? Rudy schmunzeled. See what stealing does. You're all worried, like you've never stolen anything. Yes, but you reek of it. Rudy was really warming up now. Maybe that's not cigarette smoke after all. He leaned closer and smiled. It's a criminal I can smell. You should have a bath. He shouted back to Tommy Muller. Hey, Tommy, you should come and have a smell of this. He invited Tommy to smell the cigarette with him. What did he say? Trust Tommy? I can't hear you. Rudy shook his head in Liesel's direction. Useless. She started shutting the door. Get lost, Zauker. She sent him out. You're the last thing I need right now. Very pleased with himself, Rudy made his way back to the street. At the mailbox, he seemed to remember what he'd wanted to verify all along. He came back a few steps. All is good. Everything is good. Zaumensch, the injury. I mean, it was June. It was Germany. Things were on the verge of decay. Liesel was unaware of this. For her, the Jew in her basement had not been revealed. Her foster parents were not taken away, and she herself had contributed greatly to both of these accomplishments. She was happy with that. Everything's good. All is good, she said. And she was not talking about a soccer injury of any description. She was fine. Okay, the last part of part 6, Death's Diary, the Parisians. Summer came for the book thief. Everything was going nicely. Again, Max wasn't taken or wasn't discovered, and her foster parents weren't arrested. For me, the sky was the color of Jews. This is Death, the narrator. The sky was the color of Jews. When their bodies had finished scouring for gaps in the door, their souls rose up. When their fingernails had scratched at the wood, and in some cases were nailed into it by the sheer force of desperation, their spirits came toward me. A large number of them died into my arms, and we climbed out of those shower facilities onto the roof and up into eternity's certain breadth. They just kept feeding me, minute after minute, shower after shower. This means he took the souls of a large number of Jews, maybe. I'll never forget the first day in Auschwitz. You know, Auschwitz is the first time in Mauthausen. At that second place, as time wore on, I also picked them up from the bottom of the Great Cliff. You know, Auschwitz is a concentration camp where a large number of Jews were burned and killed. When their escapes fell awfully awry, there were broken bodies and death. Sweethearts, still, it was better than the gas. Some of them I caught when they were only halfway down, saved you, I think, holding their souls in midair as the rest of their being. Their physical shells plummeted, fell to the earth. All of them were light, like the cases of empty walnuts. They didn't have enough food. They were thin, smoky sky in those places that smell like a stove, but still so cold. I shiver when I remember, as I try to derealize it. I want to forget about it. I blow warm air into my hands to heat them up. They were cold, but it's hard to keep them warm when the soul still shivers. God, I always say that name when I think of it. God, twice I speak it. God, God. I say his name in a futile attempt to understand. Okay? Futile means without any benefit, uselessly. But it's not your job to understand. That's me who answers. God never says anything. You think you're the only one he never answers. Your job is to, and I stopped listening to me. Because to put it bluntly, I tire me. When I start thinking that like that, I become so exhausted and I don't have the luxury of indulging fatigue. I'm compelled to continue on. I am forced to do my job without asking why, because although it's not true for every person on earth, it's true for the vast majority that death waits for no man. And if he does, he doesn't usually wait very long. On June 23rd, 1942, there was a group of French Jews in a German prison on Polish soil. Again, a group of French Jews in a German prison on Polish soil in Poland. The first person I took was close to the door, his mind racing, then reduced to pacing, then slowing down, slowing down. Please believe me when I tell you that I picked up each soul that day as if it were newly born. I even kissed a few weary, poisoned cheeks. I listened to some of them were poisoned, as you know. I listened to their last gasping cries their vanishing words. I watched their love visions and freed them from their fear. I took their souls. I took them all away, and if ever there was a time I needed distraction, this was it. In complete desolation, I looked at the world above. I watched the sky as it turned from silver to gray to the color of gray. Even the clouds were trying to get away. Sometimes I imagined how everything looked above those clouds, knowing without question that the sun was blonde and the endless atmosphere was a giant blue eye. They were French, they were Jews, and they were you. Okay, this is the end of part 6. Thank you very much.